Hi guys, PrinceofMacedon here doing a commentary video for Napoleon Total War multiplayer. This is a drop-in battle. I command the Ottomans and my opponent is Cracker Bala 13 in command of the Portuguese. I am the blue ones on the minimap and my opponent is the red one on the minimap. We will look at my army first, I'll let you read it. And later on I'll show you close-ups of the Ottoman army just because you guys hardly see that in my videos. In terms of the Ottomans, that is. And here is the deployment of my Portuguese opponent, Cracker Bala 13, and his stevedores, they're there, but they are they're hiding right now in the sand, or maybe they're playing in the sand like little children. Anyways, let's go show you some close-ups of the Ottoman army here. Let's start on this wing here. The guys in the red uniforms are the MISCELLANEOUS infantry, and just behind them, the guys in green and white, those are the Azars. So they're basically your skirmisher units for the Ottomans. Alright, the guys in the green in the front are the Janissary Musketeers. Very elite, I believe. Well, at least they should be. And on this side, I'm going to let you see these guys. These are the Palestinian auxiliaries. They look pretty sweet. And look at the little drummer boy. Alright, now let's go look at my cav units. The guys on horseback in green, those are the Delhi horsemen. And look at these guys. These are the Sipahi cav, the ones in blue. They look very medieval. Maybe they still think they're in medieval times. Right there is one of my artillery units. That is my 9-pounder foot artillery, and over here is my howitzer piece. Very back, this is my general's bodyguard unit. Alright, that is a close-up of the Ottoman army. Let's go look at the close-up of the Portuguese army, just because I have so much time. Alright, so here are the hidden units. They are now not hidden. These are the stevedores. There are 3 units of those guys. Those are some of the skirmishers that belong to Portugal. Alright, let's go look at the main infantry now. He has 1 unit of militia, and then he has 5 units of infantry. And he formed all those guys into a solid line. And let's go look at the back line. Here are his cav. He has 3 squadrons of Portuguese cav. And let's go find his, actually, let's go look at his artillery first. He has, what does he have? 1 6-pounder foot artillery and 1 12-pounder foot artillery. And finally, let's go look at his general. He has a general staff. Here they are. Alright, so this is a drop-in battle, so we do not pick the unit size, and we do not pick our armies, nor do we pick our factions. This is all automated. Alright, so now I'm going to march all the way to my opponent, because as you can see on the minimap, the little red dots on the minimap are my opponent's troops. And he is going to camp way in the back. And I told my opponent that I would meet him in the middle of the battlefield, but after like 5 minutes of doing nothing, I found myself advancing forward still, and my opponent was just sitting in the back. So I'm going to have to advance all the way to the very back. And I'm already in range of my opponent's artillery, as you can see. So I'm just going to keep pressing forward here, because there's nothing else for me to do. But finally, my artillery is in range of his troops, so now it's my turn to return the favor. Anyways, this is my howitzer team. They're going to fire, and then we'll see if they hit it. Of course they don't. But the second shot most likely will. But here's my other artillery piece. This is my 9-pounder foot artillery. And I was able to set my artillery pieces up at the same time. So that was pretty cool, I guess. So these guys are going to fire, and they have some pretty good range. But the problem with regular artillery is that they have to fire in a more direct manner. Unlike the howitzers, they're kind of like mortars, in that they can fire indirect fire. Alright, so I'm going to keep advancing forward here, and finally I make it to his main army, and now I'm taking shots from his stevedores and also his main infantry line. And honestly, I was pretty relieved to be taking fire from his small arms, because now that this is going on, now we can have a proper battle between our infantry units. So these are my skirmishers, my Azars, and I'm going to trade fire with his guys. And it looks like my howitzer is still missing, but I'm not really too worried about that. I'm going to keep shooting, and I left this unit back here to protect my artillery, but seeing that my main infantry is actually in more danger of dying, I'm going to link them up with the rest of my infantry body. Alright, looks like one of my Azars are starting to rout. And that was to be expected, but at least they soaked up the enemy's musket fire. Alright, so I'm launching a strong cav charge on my right wing here. and luckily I caught his cav split apart. So I think my cav had the melee advantage to begin with, but since his guys are somewhat divided, I'm going to have an easier time slashing through his horse units. So here comes the second squadron of Portuguese cav. And my opponent is actually racing a third squadron of Portuguese cav, as you can see in the distance, but when he sees that his cav is going to die anyways, he decides to stop, and he's going to move his Portuguese cav to the side and let his artillery blast at my horses with their canister shot. Alright, so I am starting to outflank my opponent here on his infantry flanks, and some of his infantry is starting to rout finally, and my horses are still taking canister fire from this artilleryman, so once I got done beating those Portuguese cav, now I can move on to his artillery. And now that my opponent sees that he has no other chance but to fight, he's going to launch the rest of his cav plus his general staff against my horsemen in order to protect his artillerymen. And I think it should go without saying that this is the Pyramids map. Alright, so his Portuguese cav is starting to break, or maybe that's his general unit, but anyways, they're starting to break, and I'm starting to overlap his main infantry body. So now I'm starting to gain the upper hand, and once I destroy his artillery and his general in the back, then I can crash in from every side. And there we killed his general, so now he has no more morale support. So now I feel more confident in moving up my infantry, and at the same time I'm going to take my cav from this hill, and I'm going to crash down on his infantry from behind. And you can see his Theodores are breaking. That's because of their lack of morale. And now all of his troops are starting to rout. And I was trying to charge with my infantry as well, but the game ends before they get there. So we can look at the results here. I'll let you read it. And anyways, a good game to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed this battle in the desert.